Hey beautiful people,
it's Brianna
and Suli,
and welcome to the very first episode of our podcast. Woo! We are so excited to have you guys here with us today. This podcast is all about real talk, real life, especially from the perspective of two young black girls figuring out life as we actually go on, because we are figuring out life, aren't we?
Yeah.
And we're going to be talking about everything from tips, tricks, dilemmas, social media, and even growing up. And especially we're going to be having some deep convos. When I say they're going to be deep, okay? About culture, faith, and everything that makes us. So today's episode is just about letting you get to know us, who we are, why we started the podcast, and why we decided to do this podcast. Just everything like that, really. So we're going to explain that to you. Now we're going to go into who we are. So I'm going to let Suli introduce herself.
I'm Suli, and obviously I'm 17 and I'm in college, and I'm currently studying ICT and business.
Okay. My name is Brianna, and I literally just finished my course, and I was studying beauty therapy level 1, and I am 16 at the moment, 17 soon. Obviously now we're just going to go into fun facts about ourselves. What's your favourite food?
Oh, that's a tricky one. You know, I could never answer this question for some reason. You answer first, because I'm still thinking.
Okay, this might be a little bit British, but my favourite food is mac and cheese. Only because it's just banging, mate. Like, you can go to a restaurant and just have it, and it's just
No,
banging.
it is good, don't get me wrong.
Okay, guys, when I tell you, when you have your mac and cheese, yeah, you have to have it burnt on the top. You have to have it burnt on the top. Let me repeat that again. You have to have it burnt on the top, because if you don't, it's just not gonna... It's not gonna taste good. That's what I'm saying. It's not gonna hit like it's supposed to. Do you get? Do you get it? But yeah.
I think mine is lasagna. I used to not like lasagna at all. I think it's because of the cheese. But lately I've been really getting into it, especially with garlic bread. You have to have lasagna with garlic bread. You have to.
Garlic bread is so good.
Yeah, so good.
It's just too good.
Yeah.
But what's your favourite restaurant? Because mine is Nando's.
I was gonna say Nando's too.
Just don't play with Nando's, okay?
Yeah.
Just don't play with Nando's. If we're going out for my birthday, we're going Nando's. If I'm going out with my family, we're going Nando's. Like, that's just how it's gonna be. It just, yeah.
I think Nando's is really like a go-to restaurant.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's just like a last-minute pick or something. Really
that's
easy.
What I'm saying.
Your favorite thing to get there?
Chips and the garlic bread. Oh my goodness!
I always get the loaded fries. The loaded fries are so good.
Oh yeah,
so good. Yeah,
I think I seen you with that on your story. You know,
Yeah, the sunset burger.
Yeah. But anyways, I don't want to talk too much on food, guys, because it'll make me hungry. But what's your favorite artist?
Oh, I've been getting into a lot of Christian artists lately. So probably Alia Lara or Madison Ryan Ward. I think that's her name.
Okay.
Yeah, they got really good songs.
But I feel like for me, if we're talking about Christian music, for me, Anatolia and Alex Jean are like my top. And Limo Blaze is on that list as well. They're like my top 3. If we're talking about like other music wise, definitely like Uncle Waffles, Tyler, and a bit of Kate Trinada as well. If we're talking
Kate Trinada's really good. I like really good.
But it's just the fact that when it comes to music, it can be so hard. Just because we are in a world full of like ungodly music, and I just feel like I can definitely bring myself to godly music because I have to listen to it. Like, are you crazy or what? I have to listen to Christian music because that's what I'm surrounded by. And it's just that if I'm listening to Christian music, I have to listen to upbeat artists most of the time because that's just what keeps me going.
So now we're going to be telling you why we started this podcast. Me and Brianna, we've met each other through this program and we instantly clicked. And we started this like campaign called Movement Music for
check people. It out because it's still up.
Yep. We started getting into like obviously music and getting to know each other a bit better. And then we were talking about like expanding it and like improving it more. But then Brianna came up with the idea saying that we should start a podcast, and I was like, I was thinking the same thing.
I'm gonna kind of just follow up with that idea really, because as I was telling Suli, like obviously me and her met through like a program or whatever. We did a little project in that which went really well actually. I think it was either before or after that whole like program. I've been wanting to do a podcast for a very long time, and I kind of just thought, I want to do it myself. I knew that when I do a podcast, it's going to be very hard to do it alone because I would have to do the editing, the branding, I would have to find the guests myself. Like, I wouldn't have that support that I would need. I'd have to, get all the tools and everything by myself. And I had to consider, especially if you don't have a managing team as well, because if you don't have like a management team, it's going to be very hard doing it on your own. So I just had to think, like, if I was to have someone to do this with, who would I do it with? And I instantly thought of Suli, only because me and her done a project together, as she just stated, and it went really well in our favor. So I just felt like, what better way to actually do a podcast with her, because I'm really another person I can do it with. So do you get it? Like, it's just... Yeah, because I just had the thought and I was like, let me actually bring this up to her and see if this is actually something we can do. And look at us now. What are we doing right now?
The podcast,
Why did you feel like this podcast needs to exist? For me, if I answer this question, this is a little bit of a deep one, I'm not going to lie. I feel like this podcast needed to exist only because, in my personal opinion, I don't feel like there's many podcasts out there which are doing this podcast and are our age. Most of the podcasts that you guys are watching, I don't know what you guys watch, but when me and Suli are talking about podcasts, most of the podcasts are like, that we watch are like Old and Bold, Madam Joyce, Under the Bed, and them types of podcasts. They're like hosts who are 21 plus. But when you're looking at podcasts, you don't see anyone that is like 18 and below, because people don't feel that they're ready to talk about those certain topics. And I just feel like, if there's no one to be your big sister, no one to be your big brother that is your age talking about these things, then who can you actually go to? But when you're the older sibling, you don't have anyone that you can rely on apart from your parents, but when it's your parents, only sometimes. So I felt lonely because I had no one to talk to. I didn't have a big sister, I didn't have a big brother, so it's just the fact that I didn't have anyone to talk to and anyone to support me when I needed that support. So I just feel like this podcast is something that we needed to do, because there are going to be people out there who don't have anyone to rely on, and we want to be that focus where we come in and we're like, oh yeah, do you need this advice? We're going to give it. Did you get it? So what's kind of your take on that? Why did you feel the podcast needed to exist?
There's not enough people our age who get to do it. I feel like if we actually started this podcast, because in our generation there's a lot of people turning to God and being saved and stuff like that, I feel like this podcast will really help people, like it will help them relate. Because I feel like sometimes young people don't even have like the voice to speak out and like actually say what's on their mind and stuff like that. So I just feel like, this podcast is a way for us to actually get what we're trying to get out.
I just feel like touching on that as well, like you said about the whole like Christian situation, most people are giving their lives to God, but they don't know what to do after. We want to be that source where we come in and we're just like, okay, you don't know what to do, but we know what to do. But obviously, I just feel like this podcast is not just going to help them. I feel like me and you, because we could talk for so long, we needed this podcast so we could just sit down, have our own conversations, talk about life, connect with the people, connect with the black girls, stuff like that. And relating to that, we actually did not answer the question that most people want to know their answer to. Why have we named the podcast The Black Girl Space? I'm going to start off with this one because the quarter of the name was a part of my idea, but also Suli's as well. And the reason why we came up with that is because, let's give a little bit of a backstory. So we came up with the original name, Just Two Black Girls. I came up with that because we're literally just two black girls. And it's literally in its name. So there was no other name that we thought that could fit in apart from Just Two Black Girls. Because if you look for another podcast that's called Just Two Black Girls, you're just not going to find it. So we thought that was the perfect name. Next thing you know, we did our social medias and everything. TikTok decided to be
very rude,
petty as well, very petty, and decided to block our account. So I said to Suli, look, if they're blocking our account, that means it's not possible to have this name. Do you get it? So then I just said, okay, let's actually change it. Then we came up with the Black Girl Space, and we called it the Black Girl Space only because we are black girls, of course, as you can tell, because we are in a space where it is just us. I feel like this is a space where we could talk about being black, we can talk about being black girls, we could talk about inclusivity, we could talk about culture, we could talk about all these things. So that's why it's kind of in its name, really. Your perspective on how and why we came up with the name.
Literally like what it is, the Black Girl Space. We're in the space
Yeah.
But it's not just for black people to watch. Every single race can watch it. Whoever relates to it, honestly.
Yeah. This is what I'm trying to say, because I don't want you guys to hear the name. I don't want you guys to hear the name Black Girl Space, and then you're like, oh, this is only for black girls. No, because it's not. Just because we called it Black Girl Space does not mean it's only for black girls to watch.
Yeah.
It's for everybody. We started this podcast because it's for everybody. We didn't start this podcast because we only wanted black girls specifically. I mean, if you are a black girl watching this, hey girl. But obviously, like we said, we didn't start this podcast because we wanted to reach black girls. We want to reach the youth. Do you get it?
Yeah.
We want to reach people that are our age. We want to reach people that are 18 and, all them types of ages. You get it? So it's not just for black people. It's also for the other people as well, for the mixed people, for the white people, for everybody. Do you get it?
And not just for girls either. We're going to be touching on every single topic.
That's what I'm saying. And that's why we started this podcast, because we want to touch on everything that you can absolutely think of. And that's why we want you guys to comment some topics that you think we should talk about, and we will most definitely talk about them things, because they are things that need to be discussed, that people do not discuss. Do you get it? So, following up with this whole topic, what are your goals with this podcast? And I'm gonna let Suli start with this one.
My dreams and goals for this podcast is that it actually reaches a lot of people and people actually interact with it. I would love for people to interact with it, even if it doesn't get as much views, which hopefully it will.
But
I would love for people to interact with it and actually let us know, give us feedbacks and stuff, and let us know how it went for them, what they learned from it, basically, and stuff like that.
My goals, oh gosh, I could write a long list of them. For the podcast, one of my big goals for this podcast is to have guests. It's very hard to get guests on a podcast because they are so busy living their lives. And I just feel like if we had a guest on the show, even if it's family or friends, I just think that would be one of the biggest achievements, only because when you have a guest, you can get another perspective on this podcast. You can get another perspective on other opinions and things like that. So that is one of the goals. And I think another goal for me is to probably get this reached out to lots of people, to the point where we have our own studio. I just really want young people to look at us and be like, oh my gosh, they did this podcast, I want to do it too. Do you get it? But obviously now we just want to kind of follow onto kind of the main topic today, which is what it's like being a black teen girl today. And honestly, this topic, there's so much you could cover. We're going to start off by talking about the highs and the lows, because there's so many highs yet so many lows. I want to know what your perspective is on what you think on what it's like being a black girl for you today.
Okay, so as a young black girl, I've experienced a lot, especially through not a lot in primary school, but I would say secondary school. Mostly year 9 leading up to year 11. Experienced a lot of racism, of course. People looking at me a certain way because of my color, my skin color.
But what is a high for you?
High for me as a black girl, obviously we're different, but I feel like I don't really know how to answer this question.
Okay, do you want me to go?
Yeah, and you go first and I can add on.
For me, this topic, there's so much you can cover, like I said, but there's very many lows, only because when we're looking into being a black girl, there's obviously so much to cover. And guys, I just feel like it's so difficult when you're a black girl. Things are so stereotypical. They just take the stereotypicalness. I don't even know if that's a word. They just take the stereotypicalness of a black girl and just use it against you. It's just like, May, wake up a little bit. We're the same person, just like you. Only we just have black parents. But another low is that, oh my gosh, social media is crazy out on that place, because it's just like when people see a black girl, it's just like, yeah, we're gonna support you, but we're not gonna support you like that. But as soon as it's another person of a different race, the support is crazy. You're getting thousands of likes, you're getting thousands of support, you're gonna get popular and all that stuff. And I just feel like social media shouldn't be that way anymore. It's just like everyone's the same person. The only difference is that we are born into different cultures and experiences. That's the only thing. The high is that we're full of culture. We're full of culture. We get so much culture. We get to change our hair whenever we want.
As black people, black society, you can never get bored. Our culture is so fun.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
you could get along so easily. Like, there's so many like pros to it. Like,
and what I love the most is that as a Black society, we're all connected. Even if we don't know each other, we're all so connected. Only because there's so much we can bond over, like music, like culture, like everything like that. And it's just so easy for everyone to bond, especially when we're, especially having Black friendship groups. That's one of the best things to have. Oh my gosh, the music as well. Don't even get me started.
Never gets
the music
boring.
Is crazy. Now I want to talk about. We basically covered these topics really, but I kind of want to talk about the beauty standards of a Black girl, identity, and feeling misunderstood. And I feel like this is such a deep topic. So we're going to deep into the beauty standards and feeling misunderstood and the identity of a Black girl. And I feel like this is such a deep topic only because there is so much you can uncover. And let's just break this down real quickly. Let's get into the beauty standards. What are the beauty standards of a Black girl, Celia?
Oh my gosh, okay. They expect them to have big boobs, big bum.
It is true. It is true, guys.
Yeah.
Actually, genuinely is true because they just expect you to have thickest waist, thickest bum, thickest boobs.
Thickums there, thickums here.
They expect you to have your hair. They expect you to have that 30-inch bust down. Honey, who's got that 30-inch bust down money? If you're gonna pay for it, give me the money, feel free. Who's got that 30-inch bust down money? If you want to have your hair in an afro every single day, feel free to do that, okay? You shouldn't have to change your ways just because somebody else is telling you, oh, I only like girls who have a 30-inch bust down and you don't have that and you can't afford it. If you can't afford it, you can't afford it. That's how it's just gonna be.
No, being a Black girl is so expensive.
We'll get into that later.
Yeah.
What about feeling misunderstood? There's so much we can uncover because especially when you have... I was having a conversation with this person actually, and they kind of was just saying to me about... We was kind of talking about a very deep topic, and I said to them, oh, like, I just find it hard with African parents because they're so strict sometimes. They're like, oh, I'm so sorry, I can't relate to that. And people, when I talk about African parents, people are like, okay. But it's just like, why can't you just understand?
You know when people ask you to go out or something, and they're like, ask your parents, and then you have to, as a Black person with African parents, I hope you relate to this because you have to wait, for a certain time when your parents are in a certain mood to ask them if you can go somewhere. So you can't ask them 5 minutes before because they will get mad. You have to ask them in advance, and you cannot ask them when they're mad. You have to ask them when they're in a good mood because otherwise the answer will be no.
That's what I'm trying to say, bro. It's just ridiculous because it's just the fact that like these people do not understand. We can't just... You guys just want to be going out to parties at 12 a.m. in the morning. Who do you think I am? I've been raised by a strict parent. So when they tell me that I'm only that I can only go out and be outside of the house from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m, that's the time I'm going to be out and I am going home. You can't be telling me, oh, let's just stay a little bit longer. Let's just go out and go to McDonald's and grab a little McFlurry and that. No, I don't have time for that. My mum said no. My dad said no. So that's just how it's going to be.
And
if you can't support that, that's how it's going to be.
They also say, oh, can you ask them again? No. You can't. You're asking for a death sentence.
Once you ask
when you ask for a death sentence, you cannot.
Do you not play with African parents, bro? Not play with African parents because the way that they, when they say no, what is it? What is the answer?
No.
Thank you very much.
No matter if you clean the house, it's gonna be no. No. When they set their mind, somebody they change their mind.
Do you know another thing? When African parents tell you, clean the house, and then you can go out. You might not even end up going out. I can't lie.
Yeah.
Because they'll tell you, you'll say to your parents, oh, I've cleaned the house. And they'll be like, oh, you've just left a little spot there. You need to clean that. Then you'll clean that one. Then they'll still tell you until the time all your friends are out and they're taking videos and you've missed out. So now we kind of want to deep into identity. And I feel like when we deep into identity, it's kind of a hard topic to discuss. There's not really much we can cover around that because there is only so much that we can say. And I just feel like when it comes to identity, we are full of culture, as I've stated. We are full of culture.
For the people that don't know, where are you from?
Zimbabwe, okay?
And I'm Angolan and Cape Verdean.
Yeah, another thing about feeling misunderstood. I know you're going to relate to me on this, but I think yours is a bit more easier to say. Surnames. Oh my flipping days, bro. And I remember since year 8, around year 7, year 8, as soon as I joined into secondary school and teachers would try and pronounce your surname, it's just not the greatest thing in the world.
In secondary school, I used to get like picked on a lot because of my name. My name is Suli, yeah, but for some reason people found it so hard to pronounce. You know, Monsters Inc. You know the green, not the green, the blue.
Oh, Mike Wazowski.
No, not the green one. Sully. Sully, that's his name.
Oh yeah,
yeah. They used to always call me that for some reason. Or Ronaldo when he does that. Yeah, they do that. They make fun of it all the time.
No way, that's crazy.
Yeah. And then one time, you know how my name is the silver. Someone said the gold. Don't even get me started. Are you being for real?
I mean, I get it. It's a bit of banter, but at the same time, don't play with a surname.
Yeah.
Do you know what I hate the most?
What do you hate the most?
When people like, oh, bro, don't even get me vexed. We'll like make a joke and they'll be like, oh, your mom. Don't talk about my mom. Do you get it? If you talk any ounce about my mom, about my sister, about my dad, anything, don't ever talk about my family, whether you're bantering, whether you're doing whatnot. Don't talk about my family because I do not play when it comes to my family, okay?
I just don't like when people pick on my family or even bring them up. There's none of your business.
There's limits to these things. What's one stereotype you're tired of hearing?
You can't be too much of this or too much of that, because otherwise you're too ghetto or you're too much. You know, if you're too much or you're too loud. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
I don't like them types of things. It's not nice. But I just think the stereotype I'm tired of hearing is, for me, is to do with the hair. It's to do with the braids. Like, can I touch your hair?
Yeah,
like, stuff like that.
They say,
don't touch my hair.
You do not touch someone's. Just don't touch hair in general, bro.
You know what I hate as well? When people ask you questions about your hair, be like, "Oh, how long does it take you? Like, can you wash the hair?" No, bro, I can't wash the hair, bro. I can't wash the braids, bro. Do you wash your braids?
No, I don't. Bro, if you wash your scalp, it's gonna sound so disgusting, but if you wash your scalp, like when you have braids in, it's gonna look like you've had it in for like months or something. It's gonna look so ghetto. It's gonna look so scruffy.
I don't like it when people ask. I don't like when people ask, when are you getting your next hairstyle? When I'm getting my next hairstyle, you will see. Just wait till the day.
Oh my gosh, one of my friends asked me this, and I'm like, when I get the hair is expensive.
Be patient.
Getting the hair is expensive, so you're gonna have to wait.
Do you get it? Right, guys. So now we're gonna be talking about, if we could tell our younger selves one thing, what would it be? I'm gonna let Suli go first on this one.
I'd probably say, don't seek validation from others. I wish someone told me this before, because the only validation you need to seek is God. No one else's, and because no one else's opinion matters more than God's. God's opinion matters all the time. Like you need to please Him and only Him. Don't be doing other things for other people, because at the end of the day, you're not gonna. No.
Mine is not as deep as yours. Yours is deeper, but mine's not deep. But mine would be, if I were to tell my younger self one thing, it would be patient. Yeah. And the reason why I say that is because when I was younger, I wasn't hungry for everything. But not when I want something. When I want to do something, I'm just going to do it. I'm not even going to say, okay, let's plan. I'm just the type of person that when I want to do something, I'm just going to go ahead and do it and see how it goes out. But now that I've actually, it's like, for example, with this podcast, like I actually thought about it. I actually planned it. I went to you and I said, let's do it. And we actually sat down and planned it for a couple of weeks. We didn't just say, okay, we're going to do it. Let's just film the first episode, because we knew that if we filmed the first episode, it's just gonna flop. Yeah. Because we didn't plan nothing.
You have to think these things through as well.
So that's why I would say to my younger self, be patient. Because
that's a good one.
I knew that when it comes to things, I'm not patient. I just want to do it. Do you get what I'm saying? I just want to do it and just see how it goes. No, you got to plan first. And that's why I would always say to my younger self, be a little bit more patient and things will come your way.
I've got another question.
Yes, hit me.
If you could invite any guest to be on our podcast, who would it be and why?
If I were to have a guest on the pod, it would probably have to be either Chunks or Nella Rose, only because I feel like when they're doing their thing, they have so much to say to the young people. Yeah. And how about you?
Me, I'm stuck on, I'm not going to say names, but probably one of my I want to say friends, because again, I feel like we can relate so much to them, but I feel like they've got different perspectives on things as well. It would just be like a nice addition as well. They can add their different opinions to things, and actually they can even teach us something as well.
I think having family on the pod is such a great thing to do as well, only because I feel like when you have family on, they can give us so much advice, but give the audience so much advice. So if you guys had any guests that you think we should have on the show, comment them down below, because we want to know. Also, for the last question of today, how does your culture shape you? So for me personally, the way that my culture shapes me is the fact that I'm different. My culture shaped me because I would say that I am different from when I was in secondary school. And when I mean that, I mean as though like culture-wise. I had to sing in an assembly by myself, and when I did, I sang stuff that they've never heard before. So when I sang stuff that they've never heard before, you know, like Dangerous Gun by Fuso DG.
Oh yeah.
Look at you. And then I sang that song, and everyone was vibing because they know it's something different that they've never heard before. And that's why I love being a black girl, because there's so many assets about us that people cannot bring to the table as well. My culture has shaped me because I'm different from the rest. I'm not the same. When I'm full of because I'm so much full of my African culture, I just feel like a different person. I just feel like, I just feel like, what's the right word? I don't know what. Oh guys, I'm gonna explain what just happened. We literally was filming the pod and the lights decided to turn off. But guys, honestly, this pod episode has been one heck of an episode. Can't you agree?
Yeah, I do agree.
But now we are going to give you guys a what's coming next. So we're kind of just gonna give you guys a little talk on what kind of people do we want listening to our podcast, and how do we prep before we record, kind of them types of things, just so you guys can kind of get a little BTS on kind of what's going on with the pod and everything like that, really. Suli, what kind of people do you want listening to our podcast?
Really and truly young people, like around our age and stuff, and probably older. I would want to attract more people like being in their journey in their faith, with their walk with Christ as well. I feel like it'd really help them. What's it? Just, be out there and stuff like that.
I think for me, what kind of people do I want listening? I definitely agree with what Suli said. I kind of just want young people to listen to us, whether you're black, whether you're white, whether you're mixed, whether you're whatever. I just want you to be able to listen to the podcast and really get a take on certain topics. Like, we want this to kind of be relatable. We want you to be able to get the advice you need. And I just feel like it's so important in general to give advice, because I feel like when you give advice, people really just need it, We're kind of just gonna end this and really just kind of, who inspires you?
I'm going to say Jesus, because ever since I came into my walk with Jesus, I've actually grown as a person, really. Even getting into my word, praying every day, going to church, all of that helps me because it keeps me consistent, right? Jesus really taught me to grow as a person and stuff, because now I know what he expects from me, and I know how to actually apply that to my life. So I would say definitely Jesus.
Oh yeah, I can definitely agree with the same thing as well. Like, Jesus has literally changed my life. I've been a Christian since I was in the womb, only because of my dad. Like, as soon as I came out of the womb, I was already in the church. Like, I grew up in the I grew up in the church ministry, and I was in a church. The same church that I go to now. I've been in that church for 12 years. Like, really? I've seen all the past, like every single pastor from the first one to now. I've seen, different people come to the church, leave the church, and it's just been like a really crazy experience, because I've seen all these sorts of different changes, and I feel like ever since then, I'm not going to talk too much on this because we want to save it for another season, but with reading the Bible, it's always been a struggle for me, because I feel like I find it so hard to be consistent, but because of another church, which I'm going to give a shout out to, MSCI, thank you so much. Because of them, when I attended their youth services, they kind of just woke me up a little bit, because they were preaching about certain things like, oh, like make sure you're doing your quiet time and things like that. And I thought about it, I was like, yeah, I definitely should do my quiet time, but at the same time I was just like, nah, I'm not gonna bother, because I was that type of Christian where I would definitely read my Bible, but I just wasn't consistent with it. I would do it sometimes, then I wouldn't do it the other time. But then I actually deeped in. I said, look, you're not getting any younger. And I had to look at myself and really look at myself and be like, Brianna, like, you need to actually read your Bible. Like, this is serious. Reading your Bible is one of the most important things, because that's what can bring you closer to your relationship with God. And that's why I said, yeah. And that's why I said, Brianna, read your Bible. And ever since I have started being consistent with reading my Bible, I'm so much more of a happier person. And when you're not in line with your faith at that time, things can really go downhill for you.
Yeah, it can really be shaky. Yes, and stuff like that,
most definitely. And I just feel like now, because I am bringing myself more to my Bible and things like that, I just feel so much more different. Like, I feel like I'm more of a happier person. And, if it wasn't for God, like, come on, like, man, like, if you're a Christian and you're really struggling to read your Bible, anything like that, please hear it from me. Read your Bible, because you will change. Okay?
If you don't pick it up now, you won't pick it. You're gonna just keep it on for later. You need to pick it up.
You'll never pick up, because if I never picked up my Bible today,
you need to pick it up.
You would not be catching me like a happy person that I am right now.
Yeah.
I would be like depressed and everything.
You need to pick it up. You need to pick it up.
Pick up the pace and pick up
your Bible. Pick it up and open your Bible. Not just pick it up. Pick it up and open it. Yes.
So we're literally going over time here. But all I'm gonna say is thank you so much for tuning in to our first episode, guys. We hope you're as excited as we are. Make sure to follow, subscribe, and share this podcast. Until next time, stay beautiful, stay blessed, and stay real. Mwah.